yeah, so I worked at the dispensary, and I kind of, this last 2 years, I've kind of been figuring out who I am. Um, let's see. And this is kind of part of that. Um, I kind of want to discover who I am by choosing who I am and really living life. Come on. Okay, sorry about that. I had to stop that for a second. Now I'm back on track. But yeah, my mom is a bit more. Has always been on more on what would be considered spiritual, and my father's always been pretty well for a long time has been pretty a pretty devout Christian, so pretty religious in that regard. And it was Mississippi Pentecostal uh, Christian. That's the kind of church we went to, and that's the church that I called my home church. Those are family, have always been family to me. Lighthouse Church of God in Biloxi, Mississippi. Awesome people. Um, there, my beliefs began to differ from theirs when I was I was around them when I was in school, in high school, and my beliefs began to differ from theirs when I started to consider them away from them. When I was in basic training, I was very much still. I went to chapel. I was still very much in the church. And then when I was in tech school, I was given a white rope. So in the Air Force, that means you are part of the chapel assistant stuff all through tech school. So it's pretty still involved with the church then. And then my understandings of things and my beliefs kind of just started to differ during that. Then during my time in the Air Force specifically, when I started getting to active duty. Um, but I was still going to church for a bit there. Here, when I was there in active duty, I went to church at least a couple times in Texas, not Texas, oh well, in Texas, but also in Vegas, and I started to just have a different understanding of my own beliefs in that regard, um, and that was when I was going to when I was active duty, and that was when I was in the guard. So it was really like 2020 when I was alone, and going forward when I was alone in a hotel room for 7 months by myself, and then in a school doing remote work by myself. Like back to back. It was the school, then it was the remote work, and then it was in an apartment with it was a cramped apartment, and then it was in a slightly less cramped apartment, and then it was all this other stuff in between. It was like a small cottage at one point. I was sleeping on a couch for a bit, all kinds of stuff. I really moved around while I was trying to get this whole thing figured out. And most recently, I was living with my brother and his wife, and that was how I was just there. That was where I left. When I started filming was at the park right when I was living in Vegas, um, and so I left. I I was working at a dispensary. I had like a bunch of spiritual and like my brain I felt really healed, and I know people are gonna like not believe or understand when it comes to cannabis and stuff like that, but okay, I guess I'm gonna run out of storage soon, so I'll just have to upload these back to back to back. I'll probably keep them. I'll probably edit them so that they're one video, or maybe like 2 or 3 videos. I'll just edit them so that they're not so convoluted and messed up. But I'm already uploading one of them. It's gonna be called Bangor, in Bangor, Part One or something like that. Um, but yeah, so I'm in Bangor right now. I just stopped working at the dispensary in Vegas. I blew my life up because I was done. I was seeing this veteran protest going on in DC, and I felt like an excuse to, as a goal to try to reach for, and also an inspiration for my new, um, because I wanted to figure out who I am. Well, I figured out who I am over the last couple of years. My brain healed. I feel like my brain is healing from all I had head trauma, a really bad concussion, and another couple of head injuries, and just life, um, building off of that and exacerbating that, and like emotional trauma, and just spiritual deconstruction, and then the social trauma and the anxiety from COVID, and having your worlds blown up in multiple directions, from your familial life to your personal life to all of it. Everybody knows it everybody has a story like mine to some degree. Mine's just a bit more jumbled than some. Some people had it way, way worse, and some people still do, and I want to be able to do what I can to help those people. And I don't pity anybody, so I want people to know that. So, and I also don't think anybody should be ashamed of what they're going through, or what their life is like. And I think people should, people should feel what they feel. I'm not trying. Don't be you. The thing I want people to do is see themselves as the main character of their story, and not a side character. They aren't so and so's wife. They aren't that guy. They are whoever they want to be. They are them, and I want people to think of themselves as the main character, and however that context works for you, spiritually, religiously, however that means. But you are also the main character of your story. And if your story is a testimony to something else, to a higher power, if it's a form of praise, or a form of meditation, if your life is, but you're the main character, and I want people to live and know that, and live and do things that are actually fun for themselves, but also to, I don't know, I'm tired of people treating people poorly, and I want people to see themselves, and I also want people to, I want to help people. That's what I want to do. And I want to help people live the life they want to live. And I want to support freedom. And I want to use my voice, if I can gain a voice, to, sorry, hope it's not too distracting, but I want to build a voice doing this and doing other projects. And I want to use that voice to help people. That's genuinely what I want to do. I see so many people doing great things. I don't want to be the person who's always on camera, but I want to help people, and I want to do it by telling stories. So yeah, my battery's hit 15%, so I don't want it to die. Plus it's getting a little bit late here in Maine. I'm gonna head north some more tomorrow morning. Gonna eat the breakfast here at this hotel and then hit the road again. Been living out of my car for the last several days. I started in Las Vegas. My goal was to go to DC, and I did get to DC, but I got there a day late. And it would have been, I would have gotten there the day of, I could have gotten there the morning of, but I had a tire emergency on the highway. Not a major emergency, but couldn't go any further. I hit a pothole on the 40 going east, and I had to get a new tire. I had to stop and get a used tire from a small shop just off the side of the road. But it was so simple and so quick, and it was so nice. And the guy who helped me out was a nice dude. Had a great conversation with a man there as I waited for, because I got there before the store opened. That's just how timing worked. And so I sat there for a bit, hung up my car, took some pictures of my car, and was like, "Oh man, this is interesting." Talked to some family, explained what was going on, and then got towed to this tire shop. Got towed there a little earlier than the store was open. Another guy showed up who was waiting for the store to open as well. We started chit chatting. Nice guy, um, and yeah, and yeah, we were doing. Sorry, my mom texted me about where I'm at in Bangor. She's she. I'm gonna go visit some friends up in of hers up in northern Maine. I'm currently in Bangor, but yeah, I was on this trip heading towards DC to join the veterans protest being hosted by kind of organized by Cliff Cash, and I got everything ready. I had to sell some stuff. I quit my job. I blew my life up in like a fun way. I also felt it was the right timing because one of my coworkers quit and I felt inspired to do the same. So I wanted to pursue this with the videos and storytelling and try different things and start traveling, but also start being me, openly, vocally me on the internet and see if I can get something going off with this. I want to, like I said, I want to write a book. I want to write books, and I want to make a related D&D related content. I want to tell stories. I want to talk about current events. I want to play video games. I want to do everything, and I want to do it in a way that I hope is inspiring. I hope it's in a way that's entertaining. I hope it's a way that makes a person feel happier than when the video started. Like I hope that over the course of the videos I make and the pieces of content I make, even if I'm not making any money off of it, I hope it makes the person's day better. And whether that because they learn something from me, if I start to teach about things I understand, or it might be things about how helping people think differently. If I start to have philosophical videos, but also just hopefully make them smile and laugh. If I can tell a story that makes them feel things, that'd be great. Because I have so many stories in my head that I'm writing in my head or have been written for years, and stories that are of my own life, like today. I'm going to tell about my life and tell stories that are relevant to my. So I've got this tattoo on my arm. It says 3 minus 1 equals 0. It's a short story that I wrote years ago. I can't remember how long ago it's been, but it's about my brother, my mom, and I. And I'm going to. What I'll do is I'll record that as a separate video. It'll just be me telling. I'll read the story out, and then I'll discuss it. Go into that, and then I'm traveling right now with all my notebooks. I've got so many notebooks, ones that I doodle in, ones that I actually write in. I've got digital notebooks, so I'm gonna tell those stories, and then I'm gonna write some of them actually as physical, media. I'm gonna hopefully make videos that are more like edited and like dramatized if I can get to that point. Do a D&D thing, all this stuff. But right now, I'm traveling with my whole life in my car, and I went to DC to visit to join this protest. Got there late, unfortunately, but the whole point of this was to start my travels. I want to be on the road. I was inspired by Cliff Cash again with he was a van life kind of guy. At least he has been. I don't know if he's settling down, but at least for a period there he was. He might still be. I don't know. It looks like on his Instagram he still has the van, so I'm guessing he still is, but I've only just now started paying attention to his content. I watched his special, really funny, but he was one of the people who helped to organize this protest that I missed. I got there the day after it was over. Like it ended one day. I got there the next day. It was 3 days. With the 14th, 15th, and 16th, it was in DC, and the 16th was in front of the um, Heritage Foundation, the people who organized the Project 2025 malarkey. But I'm not going to get into that right now. I'm just going to say that I'll end this little tidbit about what my story has been, my journey has been so far, and my goals are going forward. So I'm in. So I went to DC, got there a bit late, unfortunately. Uh, Decided, you know what? My mom has been talking about this stuff that so she's been talking about biodynamic farming for years, and it just kept like I kept hearing it, and I was like, I wonder what the like it was like an earworm. And I also really want to write. I want to start writing, and so I want to do this too. But I wanted to also travel. So I'm like, oh, what's a way where I can do all these things? What's a combination life where I can do all these things? And what I decided was, I'm going to travel. I'm going to just go. And the first destination was going to be DC with the protest. I was going to spiral. My original goal was going to go down the coast and then go up to DC and visit family along the way. And then it didn't work out, so I decided to go to. So I was already too far north to turn back around and see family, but I couldn't. I wanted to keep going, and I also wanted to see about new opportunities in life and try to change up some more, meet new people, try new things, learn about best biodynamic farming stuff. And so I talked to my mom, and she discussed with me some friends of hers and their life and the way they live. And I was like, oh, that sounds interesting and exciting. Um, it sounds like I want to help people. I want to do whatever I can to help. And these people are bringing great, healthy food into the world. And they're in a peaceful community of like it's towns around this all over the country who are doing these great things with biodynamic farming, and I'm trying to learn more about it. My mom has given me all this research to do into understanding what I'm trying to get into. But as part of this, I'm more of a I'm learned from a camp I went to in 27 when I was 17. Was a summer camp called Super Camp. Awesome people. Learned a lot about like leadership, not leadership, but leadership, college, like study stuff, like how to study properly. Learned about how my brain works. But one of the things I learned that really stuck was that the idea of what kind of a learner you are, and I learned that I am a kinesthetic first, visual second, auditory third type of learner. So I'm KVA, kinesthetic, visual, auditory. I learn best by doing, and so that's what I'm doing. With this, I'm just doing it. I'm just doing the social media stuff, the Instagram, the Blue Sky, the TikTok, the YouTube, all this stuff, trying to build up a community, because I want to, even if it's just a way to make enough money to cover the travel. I want to write, and I want to make shirts, and I want to join protests, and I want to make people smile and laugh, and I want to promote peace and kindness and love, and I want to do it from an open-minded, non-aggressive way. I want to be a chill, just nice guy that I want people to hear me and think, oh, okay, he gets it. He's a nice guy. He's not trying to hurt anybody. He's just trying to make the world a better place by talking, because that's what I'm good at right now. From my time in the Air Force, I was and as active duty, I was a briefer, so I was public speaking. I learned to communicate in computer science and cybersecurity and in the military, and very professionally and very disciplined and rigid. Learned to communicate with my own spirituality and religion through church, and then my own spiritual growth the last couple of years. I learned to communicate with computers and technology with my time in college, and my time, well, that was just learning how to study and learn. But time in the Guard, I was all about learning how to communicate with computers and live in that world. And then finally, learning about myself with my time, discovering my fear of heights and kind of learning about myself internally, as far as also being able to speak to so many people at the dispensary. We went from COVID, where I was stuck in a hotel room not talking to anybody, to having customers all day, just talking to people all day, and having to teach people about certain products, and having to discuss what kind of pain they were in, and what if they had to deal with anxiety, and it was all about like medicinal stuff, and it was so cool. And I learned so much about myself in that time. I deconstructed my religion. I was not a Christian. I haven't been in years, but I left Texas, and when I left Texas, I was no longer going to church. I had stopped after a long time. I haven't been going to church in a while, and it was when I was actually I left. It's actually probably 2014. Yeah, probably 2015 was when I was last going to church. And I've become more. I learned, I was very much alone for a period, so I wasn't really doing anything religious or spiritual. And then I became very spiritual. I've learned I'm a much more spiritual person than I realized, or learned to embrace the spiritual side of myself. And I still cherish my time around church and around religion, and I've learned a lot from them and from other belief systems. And I've got my mom, who's very spiritual as well. My brother, who is more of a true blue atheist, probably, or at least agnostic, but probably leaning towards atheist. And me, my father, like I said, very Christian, very devout. Been going, born again Christian, has been for a long time. I don't even know how long it really was. But my phone is about to die. Let me cut this short. I gotta upload these videos tonight, and I'll talk to you later. Have a good night.